Hello and welcome to Broadsword Wargaming. In this video, I'm doing it again, another 24-hour painting challenge. But this time, I'm not alone.
You are not alone, I am here with you.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, please do click that subscribe button for more videos to come, or check out the links below if you wish to support the channel in any other way. So yes, I'm back with another 24-hour video. I kind of said to myself I wouldn't do it, but it turns out it's the only way I paint models. But for this one, I'm not alone. I'm doing this with Lachlan from Zorp Gaming. Do make sure you check out his channel and drop him a subscribe. We are both doing the Indomitus box set. I have got the Space Marines, he's got the Necrons. This is Australia v the UK. This is a difficult painting scheme like mine against Lachlan's grey Necrons. So kind of feel like I drew the short straw here, but it'll be good fun anyway. We are doing it over two 12-hour blocks rather than one continual 24-hour block like I did last time. I did attempt this before with the Soul Drinkers, 2,000 points of Firstborn Marines. That's hard. It's quite difficult to do that many on my own as well. I ended up working before it and after it. It was a bit mad. I didn't get through them all, obviously, but I did break the back of the model. So I'm kind of hoping this time, with only 19 models and a Redemptor Dreadnought, I can get to the finish line, or certainly very close. I've just finished the video about 6 hours ago. I'm a little tired now, I'm not gonna lie. We did 12 hours where I did the day shift, and then I did 12 hours in the night, about 36 hours apart, because there's a bit of a time difference. And yeah, we're gonna go back in time basically to the start of the video. I'll talk you through the processes and the steps, give you some lovely voiceovers, mix with some lovely shots and some time lapses, and then catch you guys back at the end, which is now for me, to talk about how it went and how I felt about the whole process. And let's see if I can do it. So let's give this a go. Let's see if I can beat Lachlan and we can both do some models and get some armies painted. So I'll catch you guys at the end.
Hey dude.
Hello Australia, how are you?
Hello Ireland, how are we?
We're good, we made it, we're here. What time is it over there for you? I think I've got the better half the deal here so far.
Yes, yeah, I think you do, for now at least. I might try and flip it around for the next half, but it's 10 p.m. here, and I think you're at what, 12 in the afternoon or the mid-morning?
Yeah, I get a lovely break as well. I didn't start too late, I get to finish nice and early. Perfect. Better than the last time I did it. How are you feeling about this one?
I'm feeling good. Some of my viewers who might have seen my last attempt at one of these challenges may know that it was an abysmal failure, but this is where I excel. It's Necrons. It's a much more speed painting friendly scheme. What about you? You're Marine, so what are you thinking scheme-wise? I'm looking at a lot less here, and I think hopefully I can avoid that like mid-session depression of like nothing working out. So that was my battle last time, was the mental state. So this time, it's looking easy. There's only like 20 models. I can do this one. I think this is doable in 12 hours. This is International Indomitus Box Set Day, right? That's basically what we're doing. I think you might need me here on this one at like 5 a.m. when you're getting knackered. That's where the boost comes in, right? Because that's where I struggle. Yep, that is key. That is key. All right, well, good luck, dude. Let's jump in. Let's get base coating. Let's start getting through those horrible workhorse layers, and we'll start smashing these guys out and touch base in a few layers' time. All right, man. Catch you later. Have fun.
And we are off. I have based everything with a black. I airbrushed it on, but you could use a spray can or any other method you like to apply your base coats. For the first colour, we're doing Mechanicus Standard Grey, the Citadel base colour. I just want to start applying some layers. This is applied from about 40 degrees angle on the model. I'm not quite into the depths, not on as a proper zenithal here, just on as a highlight to take away from the black, because the issues I've always found, or have been told, when doing black is to never start from black. Black is too dark, you can't go any darker than that. So let's start applying some colours. This layer kind of looks a little bit like I've done nothing for the first half hour or so, but I promise you. It takes some time, you just keep going over the coats. Yeah, pretty easy step, pretty simple. Just make sure you're happy with some coverage. And there you go, the first step. As you can see, they're a tiny bit more grey than they were before, rather than a straight black, but it doesn't look that much different on camera. Just because the light gives a natural shadow anyway. The next colour I apply is the Game Air Vallejo Somber Grey. This is slightly lighter than the standard Mechanicus Grey, but actually has a tiny bit of blue or purple in it, so a bit like a very dark Space Wolf Grey. It just adds a bit of colour to the model, so I'm not just looking at black to grey to white. that just looks like an outline or a sketch of a model, despite how much you bring it down. So sticking some colour in there adds some interest, and this gives the black a slightly cold feel, which I'm quite looking forward to using because my arms are going to be orange, so it should contrast quite nicely at the end, I hope. As I love to do in any sort of time frame challenge, I stick another layer in. So I go back to Game Air Vallejo's Hexed Lichen. This is a very dark purple. I put this in the space between the black and the Mechanica Standard Grey, just to give a blend. And by putting it into a purple, into then the very sort of light blue that is going to be on the top, I think it adds even more interest. And when you're looking around the model, this is applied from below. So when you're looking around the model, you start to see even more color. And now the color is starting to show through. As I hope you can see there's a definite black through the bottom up to a lighter color. Just as my final highlight, I used the Game Air Vallejo Wolf Grey mixed with a tiny bit of white. I actually used the Liquitex acrylic ink. I like this as a colour. It's very thin, very fine, doesn't spit. And this is applied now as a super fine highlight on the edges of panels, on the tops of the shoulder pads and the tops of the heads and the kneecaps. So anywhere the light is going to hit, that is the highest point on the model. Happy with this. I know they look quite grey, but once I dull them down, they'll look really good.
Hello, this is Eurovision. This is Ireland calling Australia. How are you doing?
Australia's doing quite well. We're coming, I've got a good chance of coming first in the Eurovision painting contest. I'm smashing this, dude. We are 3 hours in. Necrons, it's good. Tell me about yours. How you doing?
I basically have spent 3 hours doing things that look like I've done nothing. So I've got like black models that just look a bit grey.
Yeah, you've got all these like subtle layers and stuff, I think, which they like don't look great until it all comes together and looks awesome.
I hope he's right, because it's taken me nearly 3 hours to just apply some greys, but this is the layer that will bring it all together. It is Nuln oil mixed with some Lamia medium and quite a bit of water to get it to a really thin glaze consistency. Apply this all over the model with a relatively thick brush. I'm just using a standard brush here. Make sure it doesn't pool on any of the flat surfaces. Make sure it all runs nicely into the recesses all over the model, because this will blend in all of the greys and the black work we've done so far. Making sure it doesn't pool on the surfaces is essential, as that will end up giving you a really sort of mottled, watery surface, which you don't really want here. I certainly don't. I'm going for a flat black, but with some nice contrast in it. Then, of course, using Nuln oil, disaster strikes. Dun dun dun! Spilt Nuln oil like a pro. Who hasn't done this? If you haven't done it, you are not a real painter. It can be Agrax Earthshade as well, I will let you off. But yeah, classic spill. So I just use it from the table, right? Like, get some Lamia medium, which I spilled as well, along with my black, and that is my new mixing palette. Whack it onto the wet palette. There's my steaming dinner. Watch as that slowly cools, the steam just disappears. Fortunately, Kira doesn't eat the food. She does give me a spoon though, which is lovely. But this is like another half hour sat here doing this. It does take quite a while, but eventually I get enough time to have my dinner before moving on to the next step. That's it dried. You can now see the panels have started to separate and the blacks have blended together really nicely. I am very happy with this. With all the blacks done and the models finally dry, it's time to move on to some painting. It's get the paintbrush out and start doing the details. This part is the really boring part. It takes absolutely ages. I'm using Mornfang Brown and just painting all the leather. I start doing all the models like individually with a small brush and eventually change my mind because I don't feel I'm making much progress. I'd like to see more for the mental state of it, so I get a bigger brush and just start using this on the larger areas, then going back over each model with a finer brush. But yeah, this does take up a monumental amount of time. Quite a lot to do on these models, not so much on the normal Space Marines, but these are the Indomitus ones, so the captains and commanders and the Blade Guard veterans all have quite a lot of detail. They've all got about 9 swords and loads of leather pouches. I mean, where are they finding all these cows in the 40th millennium? I don't know, but yeah. After that, it's another fun step. It's onto the silver, the metal. So I'm using Leadbelcher, the best metal paint ever, in my opinion. I mean, don't quote me on that. It's probably not the best metal paint. It's probably not even the best metal paint in my opinion, but I do love it. So this with Nuln oil is such a nice finish. So again, this is the chains on the chain swords, the blades. It's the belts and the exhaust parts. Are they exhausts? I don't know what they are on the backpacks. And then just some other random bits. More so on the models. and the dreadnought itself takes quite a while now. I didn't assemble the arms or glue anything together, so I can take them off and paint them here individually, which I thought would be kind of useful. Otherwise, I've got to try and get a brush in without ruining my lovely, lovely black I've spent ages doing.
2 hours left, dude. How are you going over there in Ireland?
Well behind, really, schedule on the models. I've done like all the blacks, all the browns, and then 10 silver models. That's it. How about you? You're looking worse for wear.
I am absolutely cooked. I'm very tired. I was really hoping that I might be able to like get this done so fast I could steal like 2 hours of sleep and move them to the next block because I am wasted. But I'm doing good work though. I've done all my bases, all my highlights, and all my weathering. So now I just have the glow effects and then basing, and I'm done.
What?
Yeah.
You are literally done.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've still got like 37 Necron Warriors after this, which are for the next 12 hours, so...
That's mad. I'm looking at 20 models, and I'm thinking I won't get them done by the next 12 hours.
Unfortunately, even after the less than 2 hour mark, I'm still doing the metals. I wonder if I'm just not a very quick painter. I don't know. Do other people manage to do this really, really quickly? This is pretty much takes up my last hour and a half here, just finishing all the metals off. I do end up cleaning up some other bits as well. I go back in with some blacks and try to make sure I clean up any overspill, because when I start the next day, I don't want to have to go back and redo things I've already done. So I finish the metal on the weapons, do all the power saws and the belts on the leaders, and then bring out some of the blacks again and the very dark greys just to tidy up the messes I've made where I've overspilled or anything else. In fairness, I have been painting for 12 hours now.
That is the halfway mark done. 12 hours in, I did the full day shift into midnight. I actually carried on here for another hour or so off camera and did some golds. I just wanted to try and break the back of the next step and really get them going. I felt I was a little bit behind at this point. I didn't put the airbrush down for a lot longer, but the blacks I'm really happy with, possibly some of the best blacks I've ever painted. The pictures don't really show at this point how that looks, but the finish is a really nice contrast, dark black up to like a light bluey grey. So really happy with that. Once you edge highlight all those and make the panels pop a bit more, I think it will start to really show. So we come back after I've done a tiny bit of flesh and the majority of the gold on these models. So let's see how we go. We've got the orange arms to go. The next 12 hours, 36 hours later. So I start in the evening and finish in the morning.
How are you feeling at the beginning of your night shift for block number 2?
Worse than I was about starting the day shift. You yourself look a little bit brighter today. The last time I saw you, you were kind of a bit more of a zombie. You were a bit dead and dying. Your hair was more frazzled. I think you had a mad look in your eyes.
I'm a bit perked up now. I feel, you know, the opportunity is right for the taking to smash some Necrons today. I'm awake, which is a better start than last time.
Well, I can see you doing this. What have you got today? What's your plan? What are you doing? What have you got left?
30 Necron Warriors. I've dropped it down from 40, so I just thought that was too ambitious. I'm going for achievable goals, but there are still 30 dudes here to get painted, so I reckon I can do that. What about you?
The main job for today is orange arms, right? At the moment, I've got a load of one-armed men, so orange arms. I have no idea what scheme I'm going for. I've tried a few. I think I like one, so I'm going to go for that today. Can I do it? We'll see.
Before I can move on to the orange, I need to get all the white undercoats on everywhere. So I've undercoated all of the right arms that are separate at the moment from the models. And I'm also doing right knee pads into an orange colour. So I need to be very careful here using the airbrush to get the same consistency and texture over the models as trying to paint it on. It didn't work as well. So I've just gone back to the airbrush. I'm doing all of the arms, the Dreadnought's right arm, and all of the knee pads. Start of the day. Airbrush blockage. It's quite annoying to spend 5-10 minutes cleaning that, but I take the whole thing apart. This is the issue with using an airbrush. It doesn't happen very often. It just depends how well you clean it after a session. But I guess having finished at like 2 in the morning the other night, I didn't clean it as well as I should have done. But we get back on track. I put the orange everywhere. I'm being as careful as I can when I'm doing on the kneecaps on the men because I don't want as much overspill as you could get. Fortunately, orange is a very, very thin color. It doesn't lead to too much issue in relation to covering black, but I do want to be careful anyway. So I'm using the white here. I think this is the P3 white on the right-hand sides of all of the multi-motor guys because the arms are attached. Everything else is separate. So we get through this. It takes quite a while. We'll end up with a really, really nice flat orange finish. This is just the Games Workshop Troll Slayer orange, a really nice color despite me trying various other ones as well. And there we go, orange arms. Now I am ready to attach the arms to the models, but I tried it with one and ended up scratching all the paint off. So I decided now's probably a good time to give it a varnish. I used the Vallejo satin varnish to spray it over all of the models. One coat and then a second thin coat backwards again. Gives everything some coverage, stops it being sticky because the orange actually is a relatively tacky paint at this point. So this does remove that, and then it allows you to put all the arms on the models. So finally, my Marines have both arms and can go killing in the 40th millennium. Then it's on to shading. So for this, I use Rhinox hide. I know it sounds a bit odd, it's very dark, I know it's a brown, but it's actually a brown with a bit of red in it. I think it kind of has a red pigment. So going through all of the shadows and shading on the arms, this gives me a really nice finish. I would have done it when the arms are separate to avoid overspill again onto the black. The issue with that is I can't quite see where the light should be hitting the models. So unless I was to go through and maybe pre-stack all the models next to their arms at the relevant angles, it just felt easier to get a natural finish on the lighting if the arms are attached to the models. I do, of course, inevitably get this on some of the black, but I can clean it up later. And the Rhinox is also a very dark color, so it kind of could pass off as some orange reflection onto the black because it is still a very, very, very dark brown over the black. Probably the best orange I've ever done, along with the best black I've ever done. And that is the kind of shading you'll get there. Really, really nice, high contrast finish into a really bright, into dark orange.
We are like just over halfway through. I'm at 3 a.m. now. How's it going over there in Necron land?
It's good. Necron land is good. I have absolutely smashed it this morning. I have finished all my dry brushy layers, my base coats, my washers have gone down, and I just finished the main edge highlighting on the armor. Yeah, I've done pretty well. They're looking good, man. What about you? What's happening over in Marine land?
So do you remember yesterday when I said I was going to be done with the airbrush? Still got it. Still in my hand. Still here. Still doing oranges. I do now have, though, a nice orange that I'm pretty happy with. But yeah, there's some work to go on the Space Marine side, I think.
I go over all of the orange with a really watered down glazy Agrax earth shade. Like I did with the black, this just brings all the colours together, adds some contrast and levels out all of those blends we've done on the airbrush. It doesn't take too long as it's only the shoulder pad and the kneecaps. Then I start doing more details, so I start to clean up and use Baneblade Brown here on all of the robes, on the veterans and the leaders. There aren't that many, there's only 6 models, but there are a lot of robes and I don't want to make any mess at this point, so I'm being as careful as I can. And again, I probably fall foul of being too slow doing this. The time is ticking for me. I'm now into the early hours of the morning. I'm getting a bit tired, but I don't want to get lazy and I don't want to rush these models just to get them finished for the sake of the challenge. Having cleaned all those up, it's now back to the Mournfang Brown to tidy up all the edges from any of the overspill from any of the colours we've done. This doesn't feel great to do at this time. The clock really is ticking now, and this takes quite a while, as the first coats did, but I want to make sure it's all good and sorted for the next stage going into the last few hours so I can get on with the white highlights, get on with highlighting the greys and weathering away. This is where we're at now. The orange has a nice shine to it. I can always map that down if I want, but what I'm really looking for is contrast between that dark brown and the high light orange.
There is 2 hours left, Ollie, and I am annihilating over here in Australia. My Necrons are finished except for basing. So I'm now just going to have a lovely leisurely time getting... Maybe I'll do some final checks to make sure they're all perfect, and then I'm going to varnish them, wait for that to dry, go to the shops, get some chocolate, and then have a cup of tea, and then put some base ready down, and these guys are going to be done. How are you going?
You show-off bastard. I'd love to say I'm ready to base my models and finish. When I say base, I mean base coat. I'm still there. So I've base coated the robes, and everything is base coated now, except for the pistols on the assault guys. And then I need to do all of the white trim everywhere, and then loads of other details, wash everything, do all the faces.
All right, so if you could give us a percentage of completion, how are you looking with 2 hours remaining, and then where do you think you're going to finish? What's your aim?
60% complete, maybe?
Was that 60 or 16?
Knowing full well I'm not going to finish, I decide to get as far as I can on everything and then work on just one model. So I highlight the very tips of the orange with Kislev Flesh, which just gives it a nice bit of pop after everything else. I then start cleaning up some of the models again where the orange is overspilt anywhere. So this is just the dark greys with the dark blues, those kinds of colors, all over all of the models. And then really focus down on just a single model. So I use the Fang as the undercoat to the whites I'm going to be using on top of this. So my Broadsword brethren all have white shoulder trims and white chest eagles, along with some eagles on the guns. I go back again with a black undercoat. I use this to sort of blend the white into a grey and then back down to black. And whilst I'm at it, I decide I might as well add in a tiny bit more shade, just finally, again, cleaning up the messes I've made throughout painting these models. Get all the models done to this level, and I think I can leave everything and then spend my last hour or so working on just a single model to get it right. And this is the Lucky Space Marine. This guy has had his trims done, he's had his chest eagle done. I've also done some edge highlighting over the oranges. I used Fire Dragon Bright over Troll Slayer Orange. I've done some edge highlighting on the blacks as well. I really spent my time because I want to show you guys what a finished model looks like. I got some transfers made. I just used these with a logo for the channel, stuck it onto the shoulder pad, stuck some other bits on as well, and then finally got one guy done through all of the colors. It took a while, I did some overtime, but I was really happy with the end result. Now, the bit you've all been waiting for, to see how miserably I failed. Well, take a look at these models. I've spent my time on them. There's still quite a lot to do, but I'm happy with the color scheme. I'm happy with the results so far, and I've finally broken the back of painting this army. These guys have been sat in my box for far too long. I've had the idea of doing the Broadsword Brethren, a homebrewed chapter, for months now, and it feels great to finally get them stuck in. These are some Black Templar spin-offs, Sons of Dawn who love combat, they love Sigismund, and they love the art of combat. Finally, the one man himself. There it is, the logo. I did some blue eye lenses on him. I've done some edge highlighting. I've stuck more transfers on him, and I am really genuinely pleased with the result. I know I failed at the challenge. I know Lachlan is going to bully me for having done oh so well himself, and congratulations to him, but that to me is just how I wanted it to look. It's been some experimenting, it's taken some time, it's been some literal sweat and tears, but it's finally done. So I hope you guys enjoy it.
24 hours, my dude. That was a marathon. You must be crushed. What time is it over there in Ireland?
It's 7 a.m. So I've been up for 24 hours straight now, as well as having done this the day before. But we flipped round on this, right? So I'm actually feeling surprisingly fresh. I think it's easier knowing the end is near. The time did come probably 20 hours too soon for me here to finish my models. Yeah, I did one guy. How many did you do?
I did 46. So 46 to 1. I think we'll call that a major victory. That's 10 VPs to me.
I have to say that is a severe Zorp victory. Broadsword, yet again, I lost to myself last time and I lost to you this time. Yeah, no, good work. I think you've planned your scheme out well there, and I think you've picked a cheat army to get you over the line.
Definitely, 100% a cheat army. But after my crushing defeat last time, I had to pick up my game, so I've turned it around.
Would you do it again?
Definitely. Maybe this with some Marines.
If I did it, I'd cheat. I'd do my Necrons, and I'll just spray them lead vulture, wash them, done.
Somehow, even if you did that, I still think you'll find a way to make it take 25 hours. So,
man, well done. I think I'll go get some sleep. And yeah, I look forward to seeing all the pictures of all your models.
Hell yeah, you too, dude. Talk soon.
That is the 24-hour video done. Paintbrush is down. I did 25.5 hours over 2 12 or 13.5-hour sections. Obviously, I didn't finish the models. That was a little disappointing. I kind of realized after about 16 hours in, that probably wasn't going to happen, not to the standard I am happy with. But I did make sure to push through and finish one model completely so I can show you guys the Broadsword Brethren's official chapter scheme. This is the first model. He looks, to me, I think really good. I love the transfers on the side. There's more I'm going to do to him yet. I'm going to weather, I'm going to put some more effects and stuff on him, spend a bit more time on the base, but that's how it's looking right now. Will I get them all done? Yes. I think there's probably another 10 hours of painting in these, maybe 15 hours of painting if I want to start putting in some real details and spend some real time on the characters, which I'm going to do. But it has broken the back of this army completely. This is nearly 1,000 points of Space Marines. I've got 5 more intercessors to add in and maybe 3 more eradicators or aggressors or suppressors, something else, just for a bit of flavor to add into this army. Super excited to play with them. Cannot wait to get on with some 9th edition battle reports. Having someone else to do this with, having Lachlan with me all the way through, made this so much easier than doing it the last time I did it, because I hit like 5 AM and was just on my own. I was shattered. I'd been painting for nearly 20 hours by that point. But this time, a bit of a break in between. Yes, I didn't prepare that well for my night shift. I'd already worked a day shift, the 24-hour shift the day before in between, so I didn't have a great amount of sleep, but it wasn't anywhere near as much of a drag as it was last. Congratulations to Lachlan, if you've checked out his video, or you've come from his, or you haven't seen it yet, for finishing all of the Necrons. He did a stellar job there, so well done to him. If you guys enjoyed this sort of format and enjoyed this content, maybe we can do a part 2 where he paints the Space Marines and I paint the Necrons, so I'll get the cheat easy army this time rather than the impossible Space Marines. If you guys enjoyed this video, please do remember to like, share, subscribe, and hit the alarm bell for more videos to come. Check out the links below if you want to support the channel. There is a link to my Patreon down there that gets you access to a private Discord and soon much more stuff as more things get released by me and a website kicks off and more stuff happens. So thank you to all my Patrons for supporting me. It does give me the opportunity to do these kinds of videos. So again, thank you very much. Check out all the other links as well. There's a link to my Amazon shop. There's a link to Element Games to buy models from. There's a link to Grim Dice to buy models from. So lots of different ways to support me, and that gets you stuff too. If you haven't already checked out Lachlan's video, Lachlan from Zorpazorp, do go over there, check out his Necron half, give him a subscribe, give him a follow, give him a like, and leave him a nice comment telling him how much better my models were than his. That would be great. So yeah, thanks so much guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you in another video. Take care.